Where do I need to go? But anyway, you had a story for me.
Yeah, so you know that we were going to do some trading yesterday, right?
Yes.
Some pretty difficult shit. And as opposed to it being a private session between me and my assigned trainer, we decided to go ahead and make it a squadron-wide training.
Yeah.
So we got into the Discord call, and then basically the briefing started with the trainer basically opening up a PowerPoint presentation and streaming it, so kind of get everyone talked up on what we're supposed to be expecting, because alongside me there were also two other rookies that were going to be doing this for the first time ever. Now I had the luxury that I was warned that this was going to happen ahead of time. Me and my trainer were talking about it for a couple of weeks, and we decided to schedule it in. So I was already kind of doing some research on the subject a couple of days prior to this. Those other two rookies were caught completely off guard by this. Like, they had no idea this was going to happen.
But hey, at least those two rookies will actually get that on the schedule as well. Like that they have done it if it goes well for them.
About that, I'll say that out of the three rookies that attended, including me, all three of us died. But one still made it onto the carrier, surprisingly enough.
And then died.
Anyway, so the story, basically, we take off in 3 groups, and one group has been assigned that they're gonna go up into the air and gonna go straight to the night refueling thing, go back to the carrier and call it a day because they had limited time. The other 2 groups, one of which was mine, were supposed to fly out into the pitch black fucking darkness, go and find some ground targets and destroy them using the laser target mechanism, which went pretty well. And this was me, my trainer, and some other experienced pilot that has just come back from a few months hiatus. So he kind of wanted to do it as a refresher, but he really didn't need it because he aced all of it in one go. This guy was good.
Well, that's good.
This guy was really good. Anyway, so it was the 3 of us. We bomb our targets. I find some issues with my laser designator, but I work it out in the air. So I'm a little bit stressed at this point because it's not really working well. I mean, for starters, when I was on the carrier deck, before we even went out, I was already pretty stressed because I kept hearing 1,000 comm messages at the same time. I didn't know which ones were addressing to me because I've never really done grand scale operation like this. Because the other time we were basically all doing separate little things, and the carrier itself wasn't talking to us, so we basically just roll up onto a random catapult and just go, and we'll talk in the air. This time, we had an actual air traffic controller. One of our guys basically playing as the role of the carrier and assigning everyone their slots and takeoff time, which was completely new to me, so I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about most of the time.
Well done.
And then you go up into the air, and I'll give you a little bit of a screenshot as to what the weather and visibility was outside of the canopy. There you go. That's roughly what I saw. So obviously, you lose your situational awareness pretty much immediately. All you've got is a couple of lights ahead of you that are supposed to represent an allied jet. You've got your heads-up display. I turn my lights on inside the cockpit so I can at least see all the buttons around me. But outside my window, I see jack fucking shit. Well, aside from the stars above me, so at least you can kind of see, what's up and what's down. Other than that, you're flying in a black hole, basically. So it was, doing this for the first time, you basically go into full concentration mode. Like you really stop thinking about anything that's not completely necessary. You go into full focus mode, and that kind of wears you out and just tires you out really quickly. Because every time, even the simplest stuff about the simplest stuff like finding your wingman and flying information with them. That immediately becomes difficult because you can't really see them well. You just see this massive lights a couple of miles ahead of you, and you're trying to catch up, but you can't really reference how quick they're going because the lights, they're not exactly dim or whatever. You can't really see their plane. You just see the fucking lights, so you can't really judge if it's either moving towards you or moving away from you. So by the time you've caught up, you shoot past them like a fucking meteor. So that was definitely pretty stressful to begin with. Then we go over my little target area, and we load up our bombs, and I figure out that there's something wrong with my fucking lightning pod, and I'm trying to just troubleshoot into the air, and eventually after like 10 minutes, I finally got it working and got my bombs off successfully, which at the time I felt pretty stupid about fucking it up for so long, but in the end my trainer said no, it was actually pretty impressive that you actually got it working in the end, because a lot of pilots kind of just tend to throw their hands up into the air and shout fuck this and not even bother anymore because they're just so overworked with everything else. But no, I apparently did something good there, so that's neat. Dropped my bombs, killed some targets, formed up, and then we did our air-to-air refueling, which was the biggest clusterfuck you can possibly imagine. To give you an example, one of our two trainees, one of our 3 trainees, but one of the other 2, he landed on top of the carrier, and I mean on top of the tanker. Sorry, which
not handy.
Not sure if you know what a tanker is, but it's basically a big ass airplane. So he kind of gave that tanker a nudge and then died. So that was his experience. And then
enemy, by the way, I need to defeat is level 31.
Oh wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
And I'm level 36, so just remember the original level cap was 50.
Nice. But yeah, so that air-to-air refueling, it went surprisingly well. It was the first time that we did it like in a whole flight. Usually it's just like 1 or 2 guys and it's just one after the other. But now there was like 7 airplanes just waiting on one side, waiting for the carrier, for the tanker to be done. So what you do is if you still need to go fuel up, you fly in formation on the left side of the tanker, and then when it's your turn, you hook up. And then when you're done, you fly in formation at the right side of the tanker while you wait for all of your wingmen to, finish tanking. And then when you're all done, you detach and then you basically go to wherever it is you need to go. But yeah, I've never done that, with, more than like 2 people. So it was kind of weird seeing all these fucking airplanes just hover around this fucking tanker during the night. It's difficult enough as it is in the day, but now you don't even see the tanker, you just see a fucking display of lights. And then when you turn your fucking night vision on, which I did work out how to do, luckily. Night vision helps quite a lot, but those lights that are already blinding you without it are really starting to blind you with it. So you don't really. It's not like you use your night vision the entire time. It's kind of like an on and off type deal. Like you turn it on when you need it for a second, and then you turn it off again. Because otherwise you can't see shit. Because the screen is also pretty blurry with it on, so you can't really read anything in your cockpit. Like you can't really read anything on the displays or whichever button it is you're pressing. So it's not ideal to fly with it on the entire time.
I get that.
It also didn't help that the planes, they kept the lights on, and the lights are already pretty bright without night vision, and what night vision does, it enhances the light. So yeah, you're fucking blind as shit if you're flying in a really big group. Like you can't see a fucking thing. It's impossible.
That's good.
I mean, it makes for some pretty sights, and that's not gonna lie, look pretty cool. But yeah, anyway. So
but that's about the only thing.
So there was some confusion because not everyone was as experienced as some of the leading guys. Like even some of the non-trainees, the guys that basically just came out of their training course, they still hadn't really done any of this. So everyone was kind of getting used to all of this and kind of being all confused and shit.
But that's the point.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of learning, I suppose. You're not supposed to ace it on your first try. But anyway, so then we go off.
That you're supposed to be confused, like to begin with. That's just life.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so we do the tanking thing, and then it's time to head back over to the target zone to finish off our targets that we hadn't killed already, and after that we head over back to the carrier, and that's where the chaos really began, because the case 3 landing is what it's called. Like that's the name for the procedure that you have to undertake if you're going to land at either a pitch black night or during like a low visibility weather, like really low clouds or thick fog. Like in any circumstances, you can't really see the carrier. So it's difficult shit. So we all go onto like a little holding pattern a couple of miles behind the carrier, and then one after the other we're called down by the air traffic controller on the ship to make our approach. And we do that by basically not looking out the window for at least half an hour. And just basically doing all kinds of math calculations and keeping the bird, leveled, to make sure that we are where we're supposed to be at the given time. So it's like a really big ass scheduling course, basically. Like the air traffic controller assigns us a slot, a time window in which we need to land. And in order to make that time window, we need to be, at specific points at specific times throughout, our flight. Otherwise, we won't make that window. Yep. And if you don't make the window, the guy behind you probably won't make his window. So it's a really oiled machine. But yeah, so I wait around. I'm the last one to actually be called down, and whilst I'm just hovering around in the holding pattern, I can hear a couple of guys that have gone to the carrier already. They've actually, they were either waves off, like their approach to the carrier was really bad, so the controller basically told them to go around again, they fucked it up. And some other guys basically slammed onto the deck, and then their hook didn't catch any of the wire, so they just rolled off the side of the other deck. So they had to come around again. Then this other guy, that was like in the returning pilot that I flew with, he aced it in one go, like he was on the deck immediately. My trainer actually went around a couple of times. So to put it into perspective, my fucking trainer was one of the first guys to actually go to the carrier, and he was the last one to get onto the carrier in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, he went around the carrier so many times. Like I think he had done like 5 or 6 approaches in the end. It was a fucking mess.
And how many approaches had you done?
I only needed one.
Nice.
Like when I was called down, I went into fucking full concentration mode. Like I didn't even think about anything anymore. I was just looking at my displays. I was looking at the needles that are supposed to be representing, where you need to point the nose of the fucking airplane. And I had like a hyper focus on the carrier because I could see the light of the carrier in the blink, and this light will blink in different ways, which will tell you if you're either to the left, to the right, or dead center onto the runway. So it kind of tells you that you need to align with it. So I was focusing on that, and I kept it aligned. And then when the radio call came in, okay, so TR3, which was my call sign, update needles, which basically meant that they were asking me, what my position was to the carrier, or at least where my instruments were telling me to go. And at that moment, I had already completely centered everything. Like I was on the straight approach in. Like I didn't even need to update them because I had already sorted it all out way before even getting there. Because I was just so fucking focused. And then you can see the carrier slowly started to come closer. You start to see those distinct lights at the side of the runway, which suddenly make it pretty clear where the runway is. Because if you get close enough, you'll start to see it. Like it's not like you're going in completely blind. You will see the runway eventually. I basically put the velocity vector where it's supposed to be going, and I just decided, look, I'm not gonna fail this. I'm gonna make this. So I slam it down, and I catch the wire, and I'm done. And the fucking wire hooks on, and I'm stopped onto the deck. At that point, I let out a fucking burst of laughter because all of the stress up to this point just left my body all at once.
Yeah, I feel
Finally, it was all over, and I just couldn't fucking contain myself. So I folded up my wings, put the flaps up, and then rolled off the runway to make room for the next guy, which at that moment was the trainer that was still going around. Meanwhile, throughout the entire thing, somewhere the other 2 trainees turned their planes into submarines. They both actually died, so yeah, that was fun. I mean, one died twice, one at the tanker and then at the carrier again. And then the other one just died at the carrier. But wait, no, after I landed, there were actually 2 birds in the air still. So one was the trainer and then one was Trombone, this other guy. The guy that accidentally killed that friendly ship with the anti-ship missile in that previous mission.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, so I park up next to Nikki, which was that experienced pilot that just came back. I park up really nicely, and I see Trombone come in for his landing. He has already gone around twice by this point, and then he actually hooked it on his third attempt, like a couple of, I think, half a minute after I landed. So which is pretty neat. But I don't know what the fuck happened to him, because he taxied off of the runway, went around to park next to me and Nikki, but then just rammed into me at full speed and killed me.
Wow.
Like, we were all looking. He's like, he's never gonna make that turn, is he? And, no, he wasn't. I was right there. He tried to make a sharp turn, he didn't get it, and he just killed me, which was neat. So in the end, all of the trainees died. Two died by themselves, and one was murdered, which was me.
Did you at least get that mark for that?
Yeah, no, I did get the mark, because after we left the mission, we got back into Discord. Like, the first thing he said was, "Dude, I'm so fucking sorry." That's the first thing anyone said, and everyone just had a good laugh about it, because we were all just looking and like, "What the fuck are you trying to do here?" Like, it was very obvious that he was never gonna make that turn, but he committed, and it's not like he couldn't see me. I was right there. Like, I had my lights on, I had my engine still on. Like, there was no way in hell he couldn't see me. So we were all like, what the fuck is he thinking?
Oh, he's probably just blind.
He probably, it probably was still stress that kind of, guided him. He just lost his situational awareness. He had to go around twice on top of all of the headaches that he had previously already dealt with. It was basically the same bullshit I had to deal with. So I can kind of imagine that you're not really paying full attention. You just landed, and you're just so fucking happy that it's finally over, that you're not really paying attention anymore.
True.
And then boom, there was me. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, in the end, I did get my official check mark for both the landing and the night air-to-air refueling, which means I only have 2 more to go, and I'm hoping to get those done later tonight. At least one of them will be taken care of, which is a specific air-to-ground missile that I need to do, and the second one is actually the harpoons, the anti-ship missiles that Trombone committed war crime with. But I've already played around with them in my spare time, and they're actually really dead simple. So I asked him, my trainer, like, "Hey, can we get those done in one mission?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll see what we can do." Because he wants for the air-to-ground missile. They're basically like an anti-SAM site missile. So they're really long range, and you need to employ them during certain circumstances to get rid of like an AA SAM site or whatever. But I've only actually done that on like a practice range where there was no like actual threat. I basically just pointed my fucking missile at a tree and blew it the fuck up. He actually wants to go ahead and do it like under like a quote-unquote mission circumstances to kind of see, get into perspective what it's going to be like when you're actually going to use it in a mission, which I suppose is pretty useful context to have. So we'll need to figure out, if that one mission will have room for, a small anti-ship strike, because we don't know, exactly, what the server is gonna look like by the time we load into the mission. But oh well, because we've got a dynamic server and all that kind of funky shit. So hopefully we'll get it both done tonight, and if we don't, I'm pretty sure that I can book my last flight with him for the anti-ship missiles and get it done within a week. So I'm at the very end of my trading phase now. Like, literally all of the complicated shit I've left behind me now, and the 2 things I've yet to do, I've technically already done, but just not on the supervision. So yeah, almost done with that.
I got that.
But extra bragging rights. This is something that did come up. There were only, out of the 6 jets that were in the air yesterday, there were only 2 of them that nailed their first landing, and that was that one experienced guy, and the other one was me. So I felt really happy about that. Like, I was beyond happy with that. Because apparently, shit's pretty difficult. And yeah, I noticed. So I really wasn't looking forward to having to do it like 4 more times every time, after every time I failed. And having that extra bragging right that everyone else couldn't do it, but the fucking rookie here just went ahead and did it. Yeah, no, that's pretty neat. But overall, I'm not exactly sure what happened to the other 2 rookies. I know that they died, but I'm not exactly sure, how they fucked it up so badly. I know at least for one of them that I heard him call on the radio, I almost crashed, and then someone else replied with, dude, you're 50 feet above the water, what the fuck did you expect? So I don't know how the fuck he ended up 50 feet above the water. It probably has something to do with the fact that, it's dark as shit, you can't actually see the water. But still, it's pretty easy. I mean, I found it was pretty easy to just keep your eye glued to like your height indicator in your HUD, and that will tell you where you are. So, I don't know how he did that. And the other one, this is like the biggest question mark that we all had. It's even like the trainee in question didn't know how the fuck he fucked it up so badly. But he managed, while he was trying to land, he managed to stall his airplane. Like, he was going so slow that, he just dropped like a brick eventually. Like, how the fuck do you do that?
I mean, easy.
I mean, not really, because to make it a little bit easier, you can turn like the auto throttle on, which will basically give you enough speed to stay in the air. And he turned that on. We saw it in his screenshot, so we don't know like what the fuck happened to your jet. Like, did you accidentally turn it off, or did the jet just go funky, or what the fuck happened there? But yeah, so they both died. So they didn't actually get their check marks, which is hilarious. Idiots.
Rip.
It's even funnier because one of them is actually Mr. Chaos. He's actually a real-life pilot, so that's the one guy you'd expect to ace it in the first go. But he's also the guy that played bumper boats with the tanker and then became the world's fastest submarine. And then this random fucking student from the ass end of nowhere just aces it in one go. Nice. No. This was definitely a, let's say, interesting mission. And at the end of it all, the clan's leadership kind of came to the conclusion that we're going to have to be doing this a couple of more times because you're rusty as fuck. Like if you're, not even gonna comment on my fucking trainer that had to basically do 5 or 6 runs, which is a lot. Usually 3 times would be considered a lot, but 5 or 6, holy shit. He had the worst luck, because I was on the deck for 2 of his approaches and he missed the wire by like inches. Like, it was just a little bit, he was going a little bit too quickly, and he missed it by like inches. It was like, fucking hell. And the worst thing about this is just the longer it takes, the less well you'll do, because the first attempt already takes so much fucking effort, and you're pretty stressed, and then it doesn't work. So you're already stressed and tired of all every shit you've just been through. Yep. But then you need to do what you just did and then better, because the first time didn't fucking work. And then imagine doing that 5 times. Meanwhile, everyone else is already done, and they're all just waiting for you. That's kind of shit. I don't know, if I had missed my first attempt and I'd gone around a couple of times, I don't think I would have put it back on the deck at all anymore. I don't think I could have lived with that fucking stress.
Rip.
I think it would have gone insane. But luckily, not necessary. I fucking aced it because I'm a flying Jesus. I'm just that good. Not gonna lie though, I think it was basically just sheer fucking luck that I aced it immediately.
Yep. Knowing you, yes.
Yeah, no, there's no other way. It sure as fuck wasn't skill, because I've never done it before. I was just thinking, if I do this, maybe it'll work, and it just happened to work. The thing is, if anyone asked me if I were to like to do it again, I'd 1 say no, and 2 probably fuck it up.
Well, would you like
I really shouldn't have gotten those checks on my trading sheet, but still. I got him.
なんでしょう。
馬車だ
I
よ
mean, hey,
村で馬車を見たんだ
that's good still.
Mhm.
馬車ですか。それほど珍しいものとは思えませんが。
いや
Ah,
馬車
but
自体
yeah,
が珍しいわけじゃねえさ
it was a
商人の
interesting
中には
night to
馬
say
車
the
に乗って
least.
くるやつもいるからなただ
It
俺が
didn't
見た
help
馬
that
車
for
は
most of the night I was
貴族のものだったんだ。
basically sitting in my cockpit wondering to myself, why the fuck am I doing this?
Surely
This
the
isn't
budget
even
was
fun
behind
anymore.
China's
Why the fuck am I doing this? And then when you finally
Ah,
landed, you're like, holy shit,
Mitamiga
that was actually
Seven
pretty
to
cool what I
Gosha
just went through.
それに貴族
So
の
the
紋章が
entire,
描かれ
like
ていた
for
からな
2 hours straight, I was basically telling
この
myself,
村で貴族の
yeah,
馬
I
車を
should
見たのは
probably,
初めてだったから
resign from this
随分と
product
違和
because
感があっ
fuck
たの
this
を覚えている
bullshit.
よ
I hate this fucking piece of shit, goddamn misery. And then when you're done, you're like, ah, that was cool.
Yeah, I'd not even signed up
確か
myself.
に
Yeah, you probably
ルーレットの裏でも
shouldn't.
見た
Only
ことが
for
ないかな。
紋章ってことは、そこから
This
所
is
属だ
just,
ったり、
oh
家
my
系なんかを
god.
突き止められるかもしれないね。
One guy actually in the
Promotion
Discord actually said it. Is
Social
like if a
social
game makes you
media
feel
messages
this way, then you're probably playing the right game. Like, yeah, you're probably right.
ああもちろんだ
Like,
よ
even though I fucking hated it at the time, you know, that
Kodomo
satisfaction that
たちを見つけ出してくれ。
came after landing it was just over the top. And then I think the second time, if I were to do this all again, I'd be less confused this time because you know I've you know not
You are
gotten
less
used
confused.
to it, but I mean I'll always be semi-confused, but still. But at least the next time I'll be more like mentally prepared for this and less confused and less like stressed.
None.
Like
You,
the
don't-
landing
you, don't- you,
sequence
you
is
don't
probably
deserve to be
gonna
less
be nightmare.
stressed.
Shut up.
Fuck you.
I mean the whole landing sequence is probably still going to be a nightmare, but you know at least everything else shouldn't be too much of an asshole anymore. And the squadron leaders already said that we're going to try to do this at least once per month, just to make sure that you know we do it regularly enough that you know we're semi competent at it. Because even during missions, they don't really tend to actually use this landing technique at all. Because it's a really lengthy process and it just takes away from the time you would have had if you were to just do a normal landing. Like if this landing sequence will probably take like 30 minutes to an hour depending on how many birds are in the air. So compare this to like the whole 10 minutes it should take otherwise. So that's like an hour of time that's just taken away from the mission. Like all the other stuff in the mission, like all the fun things you could be doing, like bombing targets or shooting people out the air.
使えていたのですか。
People far rather, you know, want to do that and not bother with this lengthy landing process. So we don't really use it very often, luckily.
それなら
So you only have to go through this entire nightmare at least once a month. Yay.
貴族に
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about that.
それなりにはの
では、
God, I don't play the game too often.
I mean, even if you did, you still probably wouldn't do this, because I sure as fuck aren't going to do it with you in my spare time. If I don't have to do this anymore in my entire life, I'd be completely fine with that. Like if this was the first and last
こ
time,
れは
nothing of value was
お
lost.
そらくオーレシアン家の紋章じゃな
But you know, if you know, for our little private flights, you know, definitely normal carrier landings are probably going to be a bit of a hassle if you even attempt them at all. And this one is just straight up a no-go. Like, not even going to attempt this.
No, you're not going to let me attempt that at all. Good.
Like that's. I mean, I don't want to put you through that nightmare, but I also don't want to go through that nightmare with you. So you know, neither of us wants to do this. So you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
任せてください。
Now I need to actually go. Okay, sure. I have to go all the way back now.
Nice.
Yeah, so this line of blue arrows is pretty much telling me where to go.
Right.
And more like which route to follow in that sense. Like I don't have to follow the blue line, it's just more convenient to. Also, there's a save point right there. How do I know that? Well, I can see those blue and purple
Oh yeah.
little things. But it's just fast. Registered fast travel point. This also is a save point.
Nice.
I'm on location. Hello. Anybody from this home at home?
Alright, so what I'm gonna do for now is I'm gonna. You don't need to really look, but I'm gonna turn my screen share on to give you an idea of what I'm doing right now. Just setting up a small little mission here. Right. So I'm basically going to do some, missile trading before we go out and do the actual trading later tonight, because I want to be a little bit prepared for it. So I'm just in the mission editor putting my flight together. So I put 4 small SAM sites down, and these should be, attempting to lock me up and destroy the fuck out of me. And I'll be over here, flying towards them, trying to do the same thing to them. Neat. I want to be pretty high up. I'll give myself a couple of windy boys. AG missiles, that's this one.
Yay, the nobles in this game are cunts. Like always.
Nobles are always cunts.
Yeah, but these are just like, yeah, nobody can get to our house. We have a fucking investigation to do regarding missing children from the nearby village.
This is kind of a big deal, you cunts.
Yeah, no, the nobles, if they see someone like, if someone like under them, like as like a commoner does something, they are literally allowed to like punish them for no fucking reason.
Yeah, that's nobles for you.
Yep.
That's
a noble guarantee.
邸宅へ入れてくれと頼めば相手はそれを許可するでしょう。しかしそれは衛兵や貴族が絶対に拒否できない命令を下すのと同じことです。オーレシアン家が失踪に関わっているとわからない以上、やはりむやみに騎士としての権限は使うべきではないかと。
なるほどね。悪かったわアリス。あなたが決めたことなら私もそれを支持する。もちろん私もです。他の方法を考えましょう。キリト君、何かいい方法はない？
Kill the guard! Kill the guard! Kill the guard!
Violence.
侵入するしかないだろう。
Or sneak in, okay.
そんなの論外よ。やっぱりここで待つしかありませんか？そうね。
Okay, autopilot on
馬車の
and
出
the
入りが
ground
確
mode
認できるかもしれ
arm
ないわ。
EW.
Oh, carriage.
見てください。邸宅から馬車が出てきます。
Alright, so now I just need to wait until my own radar picks up their radar.
失礼しました。こうもうま
And
くいくとは思わな
once
く
I
て
get them, I should be able to lob a missile at them,
一体どこへ
which
向
are
かうんだろ
those pointy boys that look really cool
う。
and
思い切って
fuck their
呼び
life
止め
up.
て中を確認するか。
そんなの良くないよキリト。
ユージオの言う通りです。今の私たちに貴族の馬車を止める
I
権
mean,
限はあ
just
りませ
look
ん。
at those bastards.
We have no right to stop a noble's carriage. Kill the horse in front, then you have all the rights to just loot it.
わかったよ。とはいえ馬車を見送るためだけにここに留まっていたわけじゃないだろう。
そうだね。後をつけてみよう。
Sure, we'll follow the carriage instead of just...
頼む。
Oh god, so one of my friends has just had a bit of a heartbreak happen to her. Poor
Right.
girl. So basically, she came home one day and figured out that there was a leak in the residence above her, which just so happened to be right above her PC. And the thing is completely fried.
Rip.
And guess whose warranty had run out?
Ouch.
Yeah. And not only that, her hard drive with all like her work files and shit, completely fucked. So not exactly Nate.
No. That's Rip.
That's me.
I'm almost there. I still need to like walk like a couple of million miles, but sure. Ooh, I can see enemies and I can see a save point. Enemies here are level 30 max. Okay. Or at least around level 30. I'm only in chapter 3. Like, do you have any idea how much I'm actually questioning this?
No, not really.
I'm in chapter 3. My enemies are like level 30 out of 50 from the 6 chapters. I'm not even halfway through the game yet, and my enemies are already like more than a half of their level. I mean, I guess like the what is it called again? Like I'm glad that the level cap got raised because eventually it can go to level 70, which I'm probably going to need, knowing myself.
Probably.
Hop down. Yes, I want to get this fast travel point on the map. It's very handy to have. Ah, there's a carriage on the side. Carriage.
いい加減足で追うのも辛くなってきたな。
この程度で弱音を吐いている場合ではありませんよ。今のは
魔獣の鳴き声みたいだね。
かなり近かったな。警戒しよう。
キリト、前を見て。
まずい。みんな、馬車を守るんだ。
Okay. Enemies of level 30. As part of my quest.
Alright.
I mean, I can deal with it quite easily, actually, so... Yep, one is already dealt with.
Nice.
That's 2. And this should be the last links. And well, that's the fight over.
Alright.
What next? Reward and experience.
今ので全部か。うん。馬車の様子を確認しよう。
Right, there's an auto button for this as well, which I completely forgot about. Whoops.
キリト君、業者の人はもう。
間に合わなかったか。
お兄ちゃん、何か聞こえない？馬車の中から聞こえるわ。オーレシアン家の人かしら。
中に入っている人の安否を確認するためだ。馬車の中を確認しても問題ないよな。
ええ、もちろんです。
君たちは？
お兄ちゃん、誰？もしかしてこの子たちって
失踪した子供たち。
よかった。
急いで子供たちを村へ連れて行こ
う。Alright, we find the missing children.
ありがとうございます。
Remember that carriage you had to follow?
我が子に会えるなんて。
Well, the driver was dead. Monsters were coming for it. But apparently those children were in that carriage.
しかし、なぜ貴族の方が子供たちを。
So that's a
それに
mission
つい
done.
てはこちらで追って調べてみます。
何の騒ぎかと思えば貴様らか。
あなたは。
この子供たちは迷子になっていた子たちか？
この子たちは迷子じゃなかった。貴族に連れ去られていたんです。
貴族に？なぜ貴族が平民の子供など求めるのだ？
What would nobles want with commoners? Sell them off like slaves?
子供が見つかったのであればそれでいいではないか。氷協会からの命により魔獣からは守ってやる。しかしそれ以外は貴様ら親の責任だ。二度とくだらないことで我々この兵の手を煩わせるなよ。
相変わらず
Hey, I've got
嫌
a
味なことを
spike.
言いますね。
Hello,
気持ち
Mr.
は理解でき
Six.
るよ。でも、すべての貴族がああいった性格なわ
Right,
けじゃ
so
な
I've
い。
got him locked up. I'm pretty sure that if I...
どうしました？
馬車から見つかったという子供たちはこれで全部なのですか？
はい、そのはずですが。
足りないんです。いなくなった子供たちは
fire.
他にもいるんです。
なんてこと。キリト、もう一度オーレシアン家の邸宅に戻りましょう。
Oh no, it's now
pretty
go back to the
sure
fucking
I'm
instead.
まだ残されているかもしれない。
This site. Not sure if that missile's gonna actually make it.
Oh,
But I've got 3 more.
time to fast travel.
Fast travel.
Yeah, so apparently that not all the children were in that carriage. So, you know.
Right.
I'm back at this house. Knock, knock, motherfucker guard.
遅かったか。
私たちが戻ってくることを予想して邸宅を出ちゃったのかもしれないね。
でもいくら貴族とはいえ自分の邸宅を手放して勝手に移動するかな。
それを言うなら貴族とはいえ子供の誘拐なんてしないでしょう。
ああ、そもそも子供を連れ去るという発想には至らないはずだ。
誰か地位が上の人間に命令されたってことかし
See, the missile is losing speed, but they're pretty close.
ら。なんでそんなこと。
Thing is, if I go within this red circle here, then I'm pretty sure that they're gonna get a shot at me as
誘拐を
well.
正当化する理由を持っているか。
If I can avoid that, that'd be neat.
No, you're not allowed to avoid that.
Is that missile gonna... Ah, fuck it, I'll just shoot another. Yoink.
任せてください。
The weird thing is that I'm only picking up that one and not the other 3. But I did, make them all different types, so I may or may not have just given them a wrong type and that they're not actually able to lock me up. But they're like a different type of radar or whatever. Anyway, first missile. Pretty close.
君と一緒だ。
I did actually disable the locker, so the one radar basically has like a radar screen and then a missile launcher, and without like the designated radar unit, the missile launcher can't actually lock me up. So I did save my skin there. I didn't actually destroy it, like it's still there technically, but it is disabled, which is kind of the point of the whole mission. So yep, 2 good hits. I'll take that.
キリト。
ああ、あの馬車に間違いない。
また邪魔されるわけにはいきません。
魔獣に注意しながら
Yeah,
馬
let's
車を追い
sink
か
a
けよ
ship. So now these things, they work fine. I mean, they work, not exactly fine, but they work.
あれは
お城みたいだね。あんなのが北帝
Let's
国にあるなん
sink a
て知ら
cargo
なかった
ship.
よ。
Oh, are we going to break into a fucking castle? Yes,
よ
please.
し、行ってみよう。
A castle?
ちょっとキリト君。
Well, if that has the rest of the missing children, yes, please.
止まれ！貴様何者だ？
この城に用があるんだけど。
Okay, let's see. 2 signs of honor. Axes. 1
ここは北帝国皇帝陛下の旧帝城であるぞ。
Sheds.
皇帝陛下の城？
AG missile. I want to go for the
王都セ
D.
ントリアにあるはずですが。
旧
Taking
帝
4
城
and
だ。
just sink one
それ
ship,
じゃ
but oh well.
この城は今誰が使っているんだ？
Bit of
中
overkill
には
never hurt
誰がいるん
anyone.
だ？
Except for the ship, I guess.
答える義理はない。
オーレシアン家の馬車がこの城へ入っていったんだ。何か知らないか？
私の職務はこの城を守ることだ。絶対に誰も入れるなと主からは言いつけられている。中に誰がいて何が行われているかなどは関係ないのだ。
それはあんたも城の中のことについて何も知らないってことか？
貴様、私を愚弄するのか？
いや、そういうわけじゃなくて。
キリト、ここは一旦引きましょう。
Yeah, that's the ship. Let's knock him up.
キリト君たら
No, no, no.
まさか皇帝の城だとは
Yep, he
思
is
わなくて
locked.
さ。
どんな場所であれ勝手に入ろうとしちゃダメでしょ。
気をつけます。
Profile medium.
これから
I
どうする？
wanted to
簡
skim.
単には中に入れなそうだけど。
入る方法ならある。そのためにはアリスが聖号騎士であることを明かさないといけないけどな。
ええ、皇帝の城といえども聖号騎士として命令を下せば簡単に入る許可を出させられるでしょう。
Harpoon ready.
しかし私自身としては
And
その
missile
方法を
away.
取りたくはありません。上位の存在たる者が権力を振りかざし逆らえない
Have you made sure that there's also some other ships
仲
nearby?
間
Some
に
friendlies?
まさに最高司祭様や腐敗した貴族の行いに
Like,
等
you
し
need
い
to make sure that there's some friendly ships nearby, eh?
そうだね。アリスがそう感じているのなら他の方法を考えよ
キリト君、他に何か手はある？
ないわけじゃない。
本当ですか？ではなぜそれを実行せずにあんな無謀なことを。
もう城に入る方法があるってわけじゃなくて、その方法を知ってそうな人に心当たりがあるだけだよ。ほら、貴族の紋章について話を聞いた人がいただろ。あの人、以前は皇帝に仕えてたって言ってたからさ。
でも以前仕えていた人に関する情報を私たちなんかに教えてくれるかな？
可能性は低いですが今はそれしか方法はなさそうですね。
So now we need to go back to the village again.
村へ戻って
Go to the old man that told us about the crest and try to get information out of him. Okay. Let's fast travel back because, you know, I just use fast traveling. Those fast travel statues are there for a reason, you know?
Beep.
Beep?
Hello?
Hello?
You hear me again?
Yeah?
Alright. My internet just decided to go commit honorable seppuku there.
Rip? Also something happened to my school Discord, so...
おお、あんたらは子供たちを助けてくれたこと、改めて礼を言わせてくれ。
とんでもありません。私たちはまだ子供たち全員を助け出せていませんから。
残りの子供たちを見つけ出すために力を貸していただきたいんです。
わしにか？一体何をすればいいんだ？
北帝国にある皇帝の城に入る
So
方法を
the
教えてほ
missile
しいん
over
です。
there, which is pretty slow,
皇帝の
should be
城に？
on course with that ship over there.
実は
At
連
least
れ
it's
去られ
looking
た子
like
供
it.
たちがあの城に移されているようなんです。
つまり子供の誘
So
拐
let's
は皇
get
帝
a
が。
closer look at the inevitable
しか
explosion.
し、なぜ
Is there another ship nearby?
No, I only put one in.
Oh, for fuck's
悪い
sake.
が、お主らの言っていることをそう簡単に信じることはできん。
では協力は望めない。
Actually, turn labels off because it's
た
cheating.
とえお主らの言葉が真実だとしても、皇帝家を裏切
So
る
you
よ
can
うな
still
真
see
似
the
はでき
missile
んの
down
じゃ。
there.
すまんな。分かってくれ。
やはりダメでしたか。
どうするキリト君？
子供たちの居場所は分かっているし、他の方法を探している時間はなさそうだ。 多少強引にやろうと思う。
And then there's the ship.
僕は何を手伝えばいい？
So let's reacquire that
こればっか
missile
りは
and
一
head
人の方
over.
が都合がいい。
Yep, there it is.
あとは俺に任せてくれ。とは言ったものの、
We should get a
キ
hit.
ングして情報
It's
を盗
looking
み
like
聞く
it.
なんて、子供たちのためとはいえ、いい気はしないな。
There we go.
まずい。
うん。
Yeah, that's one fucked
な
up
ぜ
ship.
皇帝家が
He's not
子
looking too
供の
healthy.
誘拐に。そんなことはありえん。じゃが、子供たちを救った彼らが嘘をつくとは、城に入る方法と言っておったな。だが皇帝に仕えた者として、それをたやすく教えることはできん。
気づかれていないのか。
これは独り言じゃが、城には非常時に備え、いくつかの隠し通路が備え付けられておる。いくつかは
Okay, so
正常の老朽化とともに
basically
塞がれてしまっ
sink a
た
ship,
が、
destroy our radar using the
湖に
previous
面した
missile,
場所から
and that's it. That's all I need to do to finish my trading. So I'm pretty
今
confident
でも
in,
使えるは
that
ず
it
じゃ。
shouldn't be taking too long.
湖に面した場所にある城への隠し通路か。悪いな、じいさん。子供たちを救うためなんだ。なんだ今の音。誰か。
どうでしたキリト？
なあ、堤上には今でも使える隠し通路があるらしい。
そこから城に入れるんだね。
ああ、おそらく。
あのおじいさんがよく教えてくれたね。一体どんな手を使ったんだい？
まあ、人徳？普段の行いかな。
なんか怪しいけど、それ以上。
I like a curious just been listening in to an old man talking to
よ
himself.
し、子供たちが心配だ。
Hmm?
急いで城に向かう。
Now, Kirita's been listening into like an old man talking to himself about
リネルとフィゼルも
well, about like the castle that they need to get into.
どうしたんですか？
リネルとフィゼルがどこにもいないのだ。稽古をつける約束の時間になっても来ずで。
そんな。もしかしてさっきの物音はまさか。
何か心当たりでも？
デュソルバートさん。
Alright, anyway,
さ
I'll
っき
call
情
it
報
a,
を仕入れ
this
た
a
時、
success.
もしかするとリネルとフィゼルも聞いていたかもしれない。
なんだと？
ああ、だからおそらくすでに裏口を目指したはずだ。
なおさら急ぐ必要がありますね。
悪い、さっき気づけてたら止められたかもしれないのに。
お前のせいではない。師匠である我の責任だ。
デュソルバートさん。
今は二人を追うためにも先を急ぐほかありませんよ。
Yes, we're going to go after
みんなよろしく頼む。
a duo, and we need to stop them from going into that castle.
お手柄を立てる好機到来。やっぱり地道に師匠から剣術を学ぶだけではなかなか聖騎士になれないと分かりましたしね。けど今回情報をつかめたのは私のおかげよ。キリトの後をつけようって言ったの私だもん。今はそういうことで構いません。しかし重要なのはどっちが先に真実を突き止めるかですよ。ああ、そんなこと言う子は魔女にさらわれちゃうよ。魔女？アリス様が調べた情報にあった北帝国の昔話だよ。昔々悪い魔女がいました。ですが魔女は最初から悪い魔女であったわけではありません。彼女は愛する子供を失ってから魔女になってしまったのです。失った子供を求めて姿形話し方が似た子供たちを探し続ける魔女。それでもその孤独は満たされない。そんなある時悪魔が現れ魔女に言いました。その子供を探し出し、
Good grief.
そして今度こそ
Mhm.
誤った道に進まぬよう 教育し直しなさいと。
No, there's like an evil man staring at the duo.
見るからに味方じゃないみたいだね。
We have to probably either save them
分かってる。倒せばいいだけよ。
or free them.
聖号騎士アリス様、デュソルバート様、お待ちください。
どうしました？
近隣で魔獣の発生情報があったようで、その報告に参りました。大軍に我らだけでは
Beasts
対応
again.
で
Oh,
きず。
for fuck's sake.
またなの？この一帯のカラントは倒したのに。
倒しても倒しても大元のカラントコアがある限りまた生えてくるのか。いたちごっこだな。
それでは城を目指す者と魔獣を追う者の二手に分かれ対応しますか？
でもかなり魔獣が多く発生したんですよね。
では我が単身で裏口を目指す。お前たちに魔獣の討伐を任せてもよいだろうか。
Okay.
もちろん
So our job is beast duty and not castle duty. Sure.
デュソルバート殿であれば安心です。
Okay.
かたじけない。よろしく
This
頼む
boy is going on his own to the
お気を
castle.
つけて。
Because, you know, the two that slipped off to there are pretty much his apprentices. So,
それでは魔獣の情報を教えてください。今から私たちで向かいます。
that's going well.
非力にて申し訳ありませんが、どうかよろしくお願いいたします。
やはり人員が足りていない。だからこんなことが起こってしま
メディノ、
う。いや、なんでもないよ。
今魔獣の討伐に急ぐか。
Yes, you're going beast hunting. I can see where the beasts are.
You're going hunt beasting.
Yes. I know exactly where those twats are. Which is good.